and you have more control over your health than you think. And it doesn't begin with a supplement. It begins in your brain. See, most people treat the body like a machine. Fuel it, move it, rest it. But they forget the control tower, the command center, the brain. Your brain is constantly sending instructions to your body. And your body, through your heart rate, your breath, and your posture, sends signals right back. This feedback loop is not just automatic, it's influenceable. And that means something powerful. You can train this connection. And when you do, you unlock better health. Let me walk you into this step by step. Most people grow up believing their brain is one thing and their body is another, that the body is just a vehicle and the brain is the driver. But that's not how it works. Not even close. The brain isn't just sitting up top giving commands like a general shouting orders from a tower. It's in constant communication with the body every second of every day. Signals go down, signals come up, and this loop determines everything. Your energy, your mood, your immune system, your ability to focus, even how you heal. This isn't philosophy, it's physiology. When you get anxious, your heart races. That's obvious, but what people miss is this. When your heart races, your brain interprets that as confirmation of stress. It listens, it adapts. The body feeds back into the brain, reinforcing the state you're in. And unless you interrupt that loop, it keeps spiraling. This is how people end up stuck. Not because they're weak, not because they're lazy, but because the communication between brain and body has gone off track. But here's the part that should inspire you. You can take control of that feedback loop. Not in some mystical way, but through training, awareness, and simple daily actions that recalibrate the conversation. You are not at the mercy of your body, and your body is not at the mercy of your brain. They are in a dialogue. And when you learn to speak that language, you change everything. Think about it like this. When your posture slumps, your brain reads that as defeat. Shoulders forward, chest collapsed, eyes down, it signals low energy, low confidence. But if you stand up tall, if you expand your chest, lift your head, even before you feel strong, your brain gets a very different message. It says, we're ready, we're alert, we're safe. And that message starts a cascade. Hormones shift, breathing becomes deeper, heart rate steadies, and your nervous system begins to re-regulate. This is why small actions matter. They may seem trivial on the surface, but they carry massive weight internally. A single breath, held for a few seconds longer than usual, can signal safety to your brain. That breath tells your nervous system, we're okay. That message reduces the stress response. Less stress equals better immune function, better digestion, clearer thinking. All from one breath, one shift, one signal. Most people chase health from the outside in: diet, supplements, workouts. And those are important, but they only work well when the brain-body loop is strong. If your brain is running on constant threat mode, your gut won't absorb nutrients efficiently. Your muscles won't recover well. Your sleep will be shallow. Why? And because the body's still trying to survive, not thrive. And that changes the entire equation. The good news, that loop is plastic. It can be rewired. You can train your nervous system just like you train a muscle. You can teach it how to recover faster, how to focus deeper, how to feel calm in the middle of chaos. But it starts with awareness, with realizing that your body is not just reacting to the brain, it's speaking to it constantly. And the quality of that conversation determines the quality of your health. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Start with breath. Start with posture, with noticing how you sit, how you stand, how you breathe when you're stressed versus calm. And that's where it begins. Because once you're aware, you can intervene. And once you intervene, you take control. Not over everything, but over enough to make a real, lasting change. You're not broken. You're not stuck. You're just disconnected. Rebuild that connection, and you don't just improve your health, you reclaim your power. Most people don't realize it, but the way you breathe, something so basic, so automatic, is the single most direct way to influence your brain and body in real time. It's not a metaphor. Your breath is literally the remote control for your nervous system. It's the bridge between conscious control and unconscious function. And the truth is, if you're not deliberately using it, you're leaving a huge amount of your health and mental clarity on the table. Now, think about this for a second. When you're panicked, what happens? Your breathing speeds up. it becomes shallow, usually through the mouth. That's not just a symptom. That causes a cascade of changes inside your body. Heart rate increases, cortisol spikes, focus narrows, blood pulls away from digestion and moves to the limbs for survival. Your brain goes into survival mode, not because you're in real danger, but because your breath said you were. But here's the catch. You can flip that response. You can send the opposite message. You can use breath not just to calm yourself down, but to shift the entire state of your nervous system. You can move from stressed to calm, from tired to alert, from distracted to focused. And once you learn how to do that, you're no longer just reacting to your environment. You're shaping your biology from the inside out. And there's one specific pattern that's been studied deeply. Inhaling through the nose slowly and fully for a count of about 3 to 5 seconds, holding at the top for just a moment, and then exhaling through the mouth or nose, longer than your inhale, 5 to 8 seconds. That long exhale is key. It tells the parasympathetic nervous system to engage. That's the system responsible for rest, digestion, recovery, and clarity. Do that for just 2 minutes, and you'll feel the shift. It's not a mental trick. It's a physiological reset. You're not just calming your mind, you're dialing your whole system down. And the more you practice it, the more natural that response becomes. Over time, your baseline level of stress lowers. Your ability to handle pressure improves, and your brain becomes more efficient at toggling between alertness and calm, which is exactly what you want for health and high performance. Now, breathing isn't only about reducing stress. It's also about creating focus and energy. You can ramp the system up too. A sharp, quick inhale through the nose, followed by an even sharper exhale, done in short bursts, activates the sympathetic nervous system. That's your alertness switch. It wakes you up. It primes your brain for learning, for action, for physical movement. It's like flipping a light switch inside your mind. So whether you need to calm down or ramp up, breath is the tool. And the beauty is it's always available. You don't need equipment. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need a prescription. It's built into your biology. All you need to do is train it, practice it, use it with intention, and that's when the transformation happens. The problem is most people let the world train their breath. Screens, noise, deadlines, stress. They shape shallow, mouth-based, rapid breathing. That becomes the default. And when that becomes the default, your nervous system is living in a constant state of low-grade threat. Over time, that leads to inflammation, fatigue, brain fog, poor sleep. It all starts with the breath. So the challenge is simple but powerful. Take your breath back. Reclaim that control. Use it the way it was designed to be used, as a dial that you turn up or down depending on what your body needs. That's how you become adaptable. That's how you gain resilience. Not just in the mind, but in the body. And the result is health that's not just temporary or surface level. It's deep, it's stable, and it's earned. This is what high performers do. They don't hope to feel better. And they don't guess. They train the system, they train the breath, because once you control the way you breathe, you control the way you live. We often talk about movement as a way to build strength, endurance, maybe even discipline. But movement does far more than just train the body. It literally rewires the brain every time you move. Whether it's walking, stretching, lifting, or just standing upright with intention, you're creating a feedback signal to your brain. And that signal tells your brain how to feel, how to respond, how to adapt. This is where the deeper power of movement lies, not in reps or sets, but in the message it sends back to your nervous system. Most people think that in order to feel better mentally, and they need to think differently. That's part of it, but here's what's missed. Your body is the fastest gateway to changing your mental state. You don't have to think your way out of stress. You can move your way out. Movement is not just mechanical, it's neurological. When you move your body with intent, especially through large, deliberate patterns, walking outdoors and stretching your limbs fully, performing controlled strength movements, you activate parts of the brain responsible for focus, mood regulation, and even emotional control. There's a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. It's responsible for decision-making, emotional regulation, and goal-directed behavior. Movement activates this region. In fact, research shows that even a brisk walk can boost prefrontal activity. What does that mean? It means clear thinking. It means reduced impulsivity. It means better control over how you respond to stress. And the reason is simple. The body is sending signals upward, telling the brain, we are incapable. We are present. That's the real secret behind why people feel better after a workout. And it's not just the endorphins. It's the rewiring. It's the rebalancing of the internal environment. You don't just burn calories. You restore control over the dialogue between brain and body. And that's what health really is. A well-managed conversation between systems. Now, posture plays a massive role in this too. When you stand tall, shoulders back, head up, a spine aligned, you don't just look more confident, you feel more confident. And it's not because you're faking anything. It's because your nervous system reads that posture as a cue. It says, I'm safe, I'm strong, I'm prepared. And the brain responds by reducing threat signals, calming the heart, improving focus. These changes aren't visible from the outside, but inside, everything shifts. And it's not just about formal workouts. It's about consistency in daily movement. Are you taking small walks during the day? Are you stretching your body when you've been sitting for too long? Are you using your eyes to scan the environment and engage your visual system during movement? These may seem like minor behaviors, but they have huge neurological impact. They increase plasticity, they improve circulation, and they keep your stress chemistry in check. Because here's what happens when you don't move, your system stagnates. Blood flow slows. Lymphatic flow diminishes. The brain receives fewer activation signals. You begin to feel stuck mentally and emotionally. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because you reduce the input your brain needs to stay sharp and resilient. Movement is input. Movement is information. And without it, the entire system downshifts. Even the way you walk tells your brain something. Are your strides short and quick? That might reinforce anxious brain states. Are they long and steady? That tends to promote calm and confidence. Again, the body speaks to the brain and the brain listens carefully. That's the loop. That's the pathway you can use every single day and to improve how you feel and function. And when you move regularly, especially with focus and intention, you're not just improving your strength, you're building a resilient brain. One doesn't get hijacked by stress so easily. One that can stay calm in the middle of pressure. One that recovers faster from emotional setbacks. And this is how you hardwire adaptability into your system, not by thinking about it, but by moving with it. The body isn't just a reflection of health. It's a tool to create it. And when you move with purpose, you don't just change your body, you change your brain. There's a pathway inside your body that most people never think about. You can't see it, but it touches almost every vital system. It connects your brain to your heart, your lungs, your gut, and it plays a powerful role in how you feel, how you recover, and how you perform under stress. And it's called the vagus nerve. And understanding how to activate can change everything about your health. This isn't some hidden science. It's well established. The vagus nerve is like a communication superhighway. It carries information from the body up to the brain. More than 80% of its fibers run from the organs to the brain, not the other way around. That means your gut, your heart, breath, they're all constantly informing the brain about your current state, safety, danger, fatigue, energy. And based on that information, your brain adjusts how your entire system responds. Now, here's the part that matters. The vagus nerve can be trained. It can become more responsive, more efficient, more balanced. And when that happens, you gain a level of control over your internal environment that most people never realize is possible. You get sick less often. You recover faster. You regulate emotions more easily. You fall asleep quicker. You think with more clarity. All because this one system is functioning at a higher level. You've felt the vagus nerve in action before, even if you didn't know it. And that deep sigh you let out after a stressful moment, that's it. The calm you feel after taking a cold shower and breathing through the discomfort, that's it too. It's involved in those moments of deep, grounded presence. When your heart slows, your breath steadies, and your mind feels clear, that's vagal tone at work. And the better your tone, the better your system can shift into that state when you need it most. So how do you train it? It starts with the breath, not just any breathing, but slow, controlled nasal breathing, especially with a longer exhale than inhale. That long exhale stimulates the vagus nerve and tells the brain, we're safe. When the brain gets that message, it downshifts your heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and reduces cortisol. It's not an abstract relaxation. It's a concrete biological shift. But there are other tools too. Cold exposure is a powerful one. When you step into cold water and your body wants to panic, the ability to stay calm through that, using breath and focus, directly trains the vagus nerve to be more adaptable under stress. It's like resistance training for your nervous system. The discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the training ground. Humming, chanting, even singing can activate this pathway too. That vibration through the throat stimulates the nerve and increases tone. Practices like these aren't random. They're ancient for a reason. They worked long before science could explain why. And now we know they're engaging the very system that governs how well we adapt to challenge. Gratitude plays a role here as well. When you shift into a mindset of genuine appreciation, noxic positivity, but real grounded thankfulness, it changes heart rate variability, a marker of vagal tone. And the heart and the brain begin to move in sync. And that coherence boosts your immunity, your recovery, and your emotional regulation. Gratitude isn't just a mindset. It's a physiological state. All of this points to one truth: health isn't just about doing more, pushing harder, grinding through. Sometimes it's about learning to control what's already inside you. The tools are already there. You're not broken. You're not behind. You just haven't been taught how to use the system that's built to keep you healthy. The vagus nerve is the access point. The breath is the lever. The practices are simple. The results are profound. And once you experience that shift, when you feel your mind clear, your body settle, your energy return, you'll realize that true health isn't something you chase. It's something you reconnect with. Every single thought you think is just a moment of imagination or reflection. It's a signal, a chemical, a biological event. People often assume that thoughts are abstract, that they float around in the background while the real action happens in the body. But the truth is, your thoughts are constantly influencing your physiology. And when you begin to understand that, you start to take your internal dialogue more seriously, not as a matter of mindset, but as a matter of health. Let's look at this through a real lens. Imagine you're caught in a loop of negative thinking. Self-doubt, fear of failure, regret, shame. Those aren't just psychological states. They trigger very specific patterns in your nervous system. Your heart rate becomes erratic. Cortisol levels rise. Inflammation increases. Your immune system weakens. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your digestion slows down. Your focus narrows, making it harder to see options, solutions, or any sense of forward motion. That's not weak. That's your system interpreting your thoughts as reality. Your brain doesn't distinguish well between a physical threat and a mental one. So when you keep repeating negative, fear-based narratives, your body responds as if something dangerous is happening right now. And if that pattern repeats enough, it becomes your baseline state. You start living in a constant stress response, even in moments that are objectively safe. But just like your thoughts can push you into stress, they can also pull you out. And this is where the science becomes empowering. When you shift your inner dialogue, when you begin to direct your thoughts with intention, you activate entirely different networks in the brain. You begin producing more serotonin, more dopamine, more oxytocin. You increase heart rate variability, which is a key indicator of emotional resilience. You reduce baseline cortisol. Your sleep improves. Your digestion recalibrates. All from the way you think. Now, this doesn't mean you can lie to yourself. The brain is sharp. It knows when you're being fake. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. And it's about redirecting attention to what's true and empowering. For example, gratitude, when it's specific and felt deeply, activates a shift in your nervous system that moves you out of survival mode and into recovery. It doesn't mean you ignore the hard things. It means you choose what lens you use to interpret them. And that choice changes everything internally. Visualization is another powerful tool here. When you visualize yourself succeeding, A staying calm under pressure or recovering quickly, your brain begins to prime your body to make the image real. Neural circuits fire as if the event is actually happening. Muscle patterns activate, hormones shift. This is not some motivational fluff. It's biology. The mind rehearses, the body responds, and that rehearsal builds a more adaptive, healthier nervous system. Even the words you use when talking to yourself matter. If you say, "I'm exhausted, I can't handle this," your brain believes it and reduces cognitive output. If you say, "This is hard, but I'm capable," your brain rallies resources. It calls on energy reserves. It expands focus. And this isn't about being unrealistically positive. It's about giving your system language that promotes resilience instead of collapse. And here's the part most people never considering: your thoughts are not always chosen, but they are always trainable. You can train your internal dialogue the same way you train a physical skill. It takes repetition, awareness, intention. But over time, the default patterns begin to change. You go from reacting to responding, from spiraling to grounding. And when that shift happens consistently, your health improves, not just mentally, but hormonally, immunologically, neurologically. So if you've been stuck in cycles of fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, or chronic stress, don't overlook what you're telling yourself all day long. Don't underestimate the biological weight of your thoughts, because they're not just running in the background, they're shaping your body in every moment. And once you begin to speak to yourself with clarity, confidence, and presence, your biology follows. You stop fighting your own system and start aligning it. That's when healing begins. That's when momentum builds. That's when your body and brain start working together. For you, not against you. Before you can change anything, your energy, your stress, your performance, you have to first become aware. Awareness is the gateway. You can't control a system you don't understand, and you can't improve a pattern you haven't noticed. Most people walk around in a fog, reacting to life rather than responding to it, disconnected from the signals their body is sending every second of the day. That disconnection is what holds them back. It's not lack of motivation. It's lack of attention. Your nervous system is constantly talking to you through your breath, your posture, your mood, your heart rate, and your focus. It's giving you real-time feedback about how you're doing. But if you're too distracted to notice, you miss the opportunity to intervene. And that's where the downward spiral begins. The spiral into fatigue, into poor decision-making, into reactive living. But the moment you start paying attention, you interrupt that spiral. You create a space where you can respond instead of react. And that space changes everything. Awareness doesn't mean you sit still for hours meditating. It means you check in. You notice your breath. Is it shallow? Fast? Are you breathing through your mouth again? You catch that. You adjust. Right there, you've just sent a signal to your brain that says, "I'm present." And when the brain gets that signal, it adjusts your state. You feel more grounded, more capable, more in control. That's the power of simply paying attention. It's the same with posture. You walk into a room, shoulders slumped, head down, and your nervous system gets the messaging: play small, stay quiet, be careful. But you catch that. You stand up taller, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest just slightly. Suddenly, that subtle shift sends an entirely new message, one of strength, of readiness, of confidence, not forced, earned, not imagined. Felt. Even your emotional states are cues. Irritability, impatience, low mood. These aren't flaws. They're data. Your system is trying to tell you something. Maybe you're overstimulated. Maybe you need recovery. Maybe you're lacking movement or connection or sunlight. But most people suppress or distract instead of listening. That's the disconnection. But when you start to ask, what is this feeling trying to teach me? That's when the system starts to work with you, not against you. It's easy to numb out with screens or noise. But every time you do that, you widen the gap between the brain and the body. And the wider that gap gets, the harder it is to hear the signals that matter, the ones that tell you to slow down, to breathe, to move, to reset. The ones that could help you avoid burnout, inflammation, anxiety, if you just learn to listen in time. That's why real transformation doesn't start with effort. It starts with awareness. You don't need to push harder. You need to notice more. Start with 5-second check-ins. Right now, how are you breathing? Where are your shoulders? What's your internal dialogue saying? Is your jaw clenched? Is your heart racing? That's not overthinking. That's mastery. That's training your system to stay connected under pressure because life will throw stress at you. That's guaranteed. What's not guaranteed is how you respond. And your ability to respond skillfully rather than impulsively comes from how connected you are to your internal state. And connection always begins with awareness. There is no advanced protocol, no elite technique that works without this because you can't fix what you can't feel. And the people who perform at the highest levels, the ones who recover faster, stay calm in chaos, adapt in real time, they all have one thing in common. They've trained themselves to pay attention. If you, not just to the outside world, but to their own physiology, and that's available to you right now. You don't need more time. You don't need more knowledge. You need presence. Because when you're aware, you have choices. And when you have choices, you have power. And when you use that power consistently, even in small moments, the brain and body begin to reconnect. And that's when everything changes.